So that's how you start, is to
Yes.
figure out the minimum effective dosage. But how do you keep people meditating?
Yes. That in and of itself, it turns out to be a very tough problem. So even for people in my class, right, they come to my class for 8 weeks or whatever number of weeks it was, and then because some other versions is a 2-day class, and universally they say this changed my life. And then 10 weeks late after the class, 20 weeks after the class, are you still meditating? No. Right? Did it change your life? Right? And so like why? It was very vexing to me. And I realized that the gym has the same problem. Right? The people, they come to the gym and they don't come back. And I know the guys at the gym, they have programs to encourage people to keep coming back. And they didn't work so well. So the question is why? I think the reason is because it's kind of boring in a sense. The gym and meditation, they're both kind of boring and they take time. And it's like there's always something else to do that's more important, like doing your next report or I don't know, watching cats on YouTube or something. Right? So how do you solve this problem? And again, I look at sports for inspiration, and or rather for inspiration and as an analogy. And there are a couple of solutions. One solution is informal practice. So in sports, it means, for example, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. So you integrate the practice into your real life. So for meditation, it means moment-to-moment mindfulness in real life. That helps, but it doesn't replace going to the gym. It doesn't replace formal practice. The other solution is community. So gym buddies. If you have a gym buddy, you're much more likely to go to the gym. Same thing with meditation. A buddy or a group, you're much more likely to practice. But again, it's very hard in America today to gather your friends for 20 minutes every day. Right?
But this is where an app can come in. You can create a little community.
Maybe, yeah. So maybe. In order for community to work, the key word I think is accountability. You're accountable to your friends. And therefore, maybe that could be the weakness of the app. If there's no accountability.
Except for you could build it into the app that you could see who's meditated and who isn't. And you can give them crap if they haven't and that kind of thing.
That will work well, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's a possible solution. There's a third solution, which I think works really well in sports and I think works really well here, which is joy, which is why I wrote the book, by the way. It was the original intention. I wrote the book. So in sports, in exercise, what they did is they gamify sports. I mean, they gamify exercise and they call it sport. Right? And because it's gamified, people do it for fun.
Gamified,
yes.
Yeah.
They do it for fun, and therefore they exercise. And so the trick for me is therefore let's gamify meditation. But it turns out I can't do that because sports is stimulus driven, and anything stimulus driven can be gamified. Meditation is stimulus free. Anything that's stimulus free is not easy to gamify. And so I realized something. I realized that there's a way to do that, which is the joy point. Right? In every meditator's career, there's a point where sitting is consistently joyful. And that is when it's self-sustaining. Right? So for a teacher, for me, the key question to ask is, how do I accelerate my students towards that point? And I thought about it for a few months, and I realized that was the wrong question to ask. The correct question to ask should be, how do I front load joy into the timeline of the practice? And then the question is, how far do I front load it? And I realized, first breath. So starting from the first breath, already we emphasize the joy in the practice. And again, I feel that I'm not doing anything unorthodox because that was how the Buddha taught it. The Buddha taught it as a path of joy. So front load joy all the way to the beginning. Therefore, they are much more likely to reach a joy point much earlier and then sustain their practice.
Well, this idea is what makes the book, I think, so fascinating and I think practical and useful. And I'm glad I read it, and I'm glad you came on the podcast. Meng, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, my friend.